conversational questions to get the conversation going and pull information from people. And I think here's what happens. So many people, when they're in the job search, they say, hi, I'd like to meet with you. They get a networking opportunity and they ruin it because they bring their resume, they hand it to someone, and then the person starts looking at their resume and they ruin the opportunity to connect with someone.
And then they wait for the
level.
potential employer to ask them all of the questions,
right.
And then they just sit here, yes, no, sometimes.
And you need to remember that during an interview or during any conversation, it's a two-way street. You know, you're interviewing them just as much as they're interviewing you. I talk a lot about the interview and the questions in the interview. You need to control that interview. I remember talking to a president of a company, and I said, hey, Mike, before we get started, let me ask you a quick question. And about an hour later, after I asked question after question, he said, can I ask you a question now? I go, actually, no, I'm out of time. And he goes, really? I'm like, no, I'm just messing with you. What do you want to know? And he asked me two questions that were pretty insignificant, offered me the job. And it wasn't about what my background was. It wasn't about my resume. It was about the thought-provoking questions I was asking that helped him realize I was the right candidate for that job. The other thing in the interview, people get so caught up in feeling like they have to answer every question that they're asked. And you don't have to answer anything, you know.
But what do you say if you don't want to answer something?
Well, you just turn it around into what you want to answer. What are your greatest weaknesses? That's the same old tired interview question. And so you turn that around to say, not what are your greatest weaknesses, but what are the aspects of a job that you absolutely don't want to do? And so when I had a friend who said, well, you know, I'm not big on the routine maintenance kind of things. And I said, great, tell them that. Say, you know what, here's my big weakness. You know, routine maintenance type work is not me, but if you want a change agent, I'm your person.
But
so
that line out there is so unbearably long for every job. There's so many people that are out of work. How do I get to the front of the line?
This is what it's about, connecting and networking. If you want your resume to the top of the stack, you need to meet people, get referrals in. But the key is forget about the resume. That's what I talk about. I say go ahead, if it makes you feel good, have a resume, here are the things to do and not to do. But really have conversations, target the companies you want to go work for, and make sure you're relevant. If you don't have a background in that industry, figure out based on that industry or based on that company what's relevant about your background. You know, maybe your background is in international work with retailers and you have some technology background. Find the technology retailer that's expanding internationally. You're going to be very relevant to them. There was a woman, Michelle, and she's an expert in denim. So she knows everything about jeans and denim and apparel, and she knows it all. And she was having a real problem because she knows everyone in the apparel industry. And I said, well, Michelle, let's talk about who your customer set is. You know, and she said, well, I worked with Roxy, a teenage girl brand. And I said, okay, so really your expertise may be in denim, but your real expertise is in how to market to the teenage girl. Who cares about that? So let's talk about, why don't you go look at some of the video game companies that are targeting teenage girls and help them build an apparel line to outfit their avatars. You know, do something different, but you've got to start thinking creatively. And the other thing is you need to get around other people who are in the job search, who are going through the same thing you're doing, so that you can have those conversations and brainstorm together. You cannot do your job search alone.
Okay, people want to brainstorm with Molly Wendell, and that's one of the ways that I suppose it can be done with the phone number and the website. Here's another way, and that is the new job search, available wherever discriminating books
on Amazon and on mollywendell.com.
Yeah, absolutely. Did you hear about all of those jobs that are open at Grand Canyon University?
I did.
I'd apply if I were you.
If they're going to have a job, I'm not going to apply. I'm actually going to talk to the people I just met who work there.
Oh, that's right,
and
because
get
you don't need a resume,
You don't need a resume. Get connected.
Molly's already applied for a job, and the guy isn't even on here yet. And he's the athletic director. He's coming up next.